This is the very first ever catching up with the Jones, and that's catching up with Chris Jones. And so I'm pretty excited about this deal today. We're zooming with the Finleyville, Pennsylvania pro Matt Becker. Matt, who has won over $237,000 with FLW. He is a two-time Forest Wood Cup qualifier. In fact, in 2018, he finished 11th, barely missing the top 10 cut for Championship Sunday. Last year, he finished 15th. He's had 7 top 10s with FLW, a Toyota Series win at 1,000 Islands. That's 1,000 Islands. That is upstate New York. We're going to be talking a lot about that win and why that is important to his 2020 Pro Circuit season. And that was a magical event for him, so we're going to talk about that too. A guy that's had a lot of success with us, and join us, Matt Becker. Matt, what's up, man?
Hey, Chris, I appreciate you reaching out and catching up with you. You know, this is pretty cool. We get to sit here in the comfort of our homes, and we get to catch up a little bit.
Absolutely, man. You're my first guest with catching up with Chris Jones.
I'm honored. I'm honored, Chris. You picked me out of everybody. I could have picked 100 people before me, but hey, I'm honored.
Well, I want to tell you something, man. There's something really special about Matt Becker. Not only can you catch him, one of the best fishermen on tour, and we're going to talk about your stats over the last 3 years. This is your third year on the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit, but we're also going to talk about the entertainment value that you bring to FLW Live and our television show. And I can promise you, you've got education and entertainment, the two E's that make successful TV. So we're glad to have you. Again, this is my first time doing this, man, and I'm pretty excited about it. We're going to talk about a lot of different things going on in the fishing world. Obviously, you're home. I'm home. COVID-19 is real. So the coronavirus pandemic that's hit our country has kind of shut down the fishing world and everything, just to be honest with you. But we're making lemonade out of the lemons. It's been handed to us, man. I get still thank God for the internet, social media. I still get to talk to great people like you. And what's going on in Pennsylvania with this? Because, I mean, in Kentucky here, they've got everything shut down, man. We can't leave.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is here too. You know, everything's shut down. You know, but once you go out to the grocery store or whatnot, and you really couldn't tell anything's going on. You know, it's pretty much business as usual. You know, the shelves are stocked.
Good.
It's not like everything's sold out or anything. And, you know, you see a person here and there wearing a mask or gloves or whatnot. But other than that, it's business as usual. So
that's good, man.
Staying safe. You know, we're still allowed to fish. So you can get out, enjoy God's creation, get out, enjoy nature, and just stay safe. Don't get too close to people, just in case. But hey, I'm happy.
Absolutely. Fishing is some good therapy for all this. I guarantee you. Plus, you got to stay sharp, man. We're 3 events in to the Tackle Warehouse 2020 season, the Pro Circuit season. So you got to stay sharp. You're sitting in second place right now in the point standings, and we're going to talk about all that. But I think we build this thing up from the beginning. Let's build it up from the ground up, man. July 2017, Toyota Series win at 1,000 Islands. It's the St. Lawrence River, Messina, New York. I think you had 2 really good first days in that event, but 25 pounds, 2 ounces, a mega bag of smallmouth on day 3. That stringer led to your first Toyota Series win. And obviously that successful year that you had qualified you for the Toyota Series Championship. And I believe you're in the top 10 in the standings. I think you finished 5th in the standings, man. And that got you qualified for the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit, where in 2018 you finished Polaris Rookie of the Year. And you finished 32nd in the standings and went on to finish 11th at the Forest Wood Cup. Let's talk about the Toyota Series, man. Had a lot of success in 2017. That win on 1,000 Islands, the St. Lawrence River, man, that was big for you.
You know, that really was. That's what jump-started my whole career. And, growing up, I'd always wanted to be a professional. That's all I ever wanted to do was fish. But honestly, I could never afford anything. I didn't come from a lot of money or anything. So I was always struggling just to pay my entry fees. I got into BFLs a couple years and fished locally since I was probably 16 till up until 2017. And I had finally saved up enough money and paid my entries into the Toyota series. And I was like, well, I'm going to take a shot at it. I got 1 year and whatnot and see what happens. And, some crazy things actually happened that spring. I wrecked my boat, blew up my lower unit, all sorts of things that were costing me all kinds of money. And I almost backed out. I was right on the edge of backing out of the Toyota series that year, and just scraped together enough money and got in and went to the first event on Champlain and finished like 30th, I think, cashed a check.
Yep.
So that gave me the money to be able to go to the next one at Thousand Islands and, cashed a check, got some confidence. I was like, all right, well, I can do this. That was the first time I'd really been out of my region, and fishing against these higher end guys. So it was a big confidence booster to me.
Absolutely.
And then we move on to Thousand Islands. And I remember telling my dad before I left, I was like, this looks like it's going to set up like Erie. And that's where I've won the most events to that point. So I was like, if I'm ever going to win one, it'll probably be up here. And little did I know I would come home with that trophy. And really, that's changed my life ever since. That gave me the financial boost that I need to be able to fish the tour and gain some notoriety with sponsors and whatnot to be able to make a run at the tour.
Absolutely. Talk about that day 3, the Toyota Series Championship. That was a match, or the Toyota Series event there at the St. Lawrence River. That was a magical day, man. You caught 25 pounds, 2 ounces. Did you feel like you had that thing won?
It was crazy because I wasn't really in a position to win. I think I was like 4 pounds back heading into the final day. So I was in, I think, 6th place or something. So I was, going out in the morning. I'm like, I'm going to move up a few spots and maybe, get a bigger check or whatnot. So winning really wasn't on my radar, but got out there. It was a beautiful morning. I remember all this vividly, and it wasn't but the first 10 minutes I dropped down and caught my biggest fish of the week. Was like a 6-pounder or something. And it just sort of snowballed from there, and just caught another big one like every hour. I'd catch another 5-pounder, another 5-pounder, another 5-pounder. Yeah, it was magic. And I remember, I still have some GoPro footage somewhere, but when I put the 5th big one in the boat, I just looked up to the skies. I was like, what the heck is happening here today? Like, I got a giant bag of fish. And that's when it really sunk in, because I wasn't weighing my fish or anything. So I was just trying to call and whatnot and looking at these fish. And I was like, man, I got a giant bag. And then I started doing some math in my head, and I was like, well, if I got 25 pounds and the leader only catches 21 pounds, which is still a giant bag of fish, I was like, I got a shot. I can come back and win this thing.
Yep.
So that's when it started sinking in a little bit, and I got some goosebumps and whatnot. And I was like, well, maybe we better fish for about another hour or so and take an easy ride in. And thank God I did that, because come to find out, I actually had a crack in my jack plate for a reason, So I took an easy ride back. I got my boat on the trailer after we weighed in and everything, and I'm strapping down my boat, and there's a big crack down the side of my jack plate.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. So
it was crazy, If I had stayed a little bit longer and ran that hard back in, that thing could have cracked all the way down, and I never would have made it in. So just so many things aligned perfectly that day, and is truly a gift from God. And I'm thankful for that, because that magic day truly has changed my life ever since.
I love it. And your story's magical, man. You start out the Phoenix Bass Fishing League, you had some success regionally. Went through some adversity, it sounds like, getting into the Toyota series, but you had so much success. You finished in the top 10 at the end of the year, and that qualifies you for the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit. That's a big, big jump right there. And you just went for it? Explain that decision, man.
Yeah, like I said, I'd always wanted to do it. So, but I could never
It's a
afford it or anything.
huge investment money-wise.
It's a huge investment, and I got to thinking about it throughout the rest of the year. Once I qualified after the third event, I was like, I got the money in the bank right now. Like, if I'm ever gonna have a shot, I better do it. I'm young,
Yep.
I don't have anything holding me back. I'm like, I gotta just take a shot and see if I can do it, see if I can stand, because I've always wanted to do it. And coming off some success in the Northern Division, my confidence was sky high. I was
Absolutely.
like, maybe I can do this. So
let's go.
Signed up, and
Yeah,
I was able I was able to gain some notoriety and get some sponsor help, and get into a new Phoenix and that kind of stuff. And it's been good ever since.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And it's kind of one of those things. So you step up onto the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit as a rookie. It's 2018. You have a great year. You make several cuts. You finish 32nd in the points. You win the Polaris Rookie of the Year title, man. Talk about that. That's huge.
Yeah, that's huge. That is probably the second most important trophy that I've ever won, because that extremely helped me with sponsors and whatnot, and just notoriety on the tour. Gained some respect from fellow anglers and that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was a battle all season long. Honestly, I was still learning how to fish. Looking back, I really didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I still don't. I'm still always learning every time I go out. But, that year it was full of ups and downs. I had a good event, a bad event, good event, bad event, but was able to come away with just enough points to win that trophy, get that Rookie of the Year. And from there, yeah,
that's huge.
That
man.
helped me out tremendously. That helped me out tremendously sponsor-wise, and been able to get a lot better situation that way following that.
Absolutely. So you go to all these lakes for the first time. All right, you go down south, you see all these lakes for the first time. You're fishing against some of the biggest names in the game today, and guys that have had a lot of success at these lakes. That's got to be intimidating. Yet you hold your own, man. You do well. You made top 30s, top 10s the last 3 years against some of the biggest names in the game, and carving out that path, man. You're carving your own way.
Yeah, that's certainly one thing that I like. I like going to new bodies of water that I've never been to. Sometimes I feel like it may even give me an advantage over people who have been there before, because they're trying to fish history, things that they did the last time they were there, or, whatever that may be. I just show up with an open mind. I'm just like, this looks like I should be doing this or should be doing this. So I've been very fortunate that way, that some of the places where we went to with prior history, maybe the conditions were different. It was flooded or muddy or water was high, low, anything like that. And I use those things kind of to my advantage, because like I said, I show up with an open mind, and other people may be wasting their practice time trying to run history.
Yep.
And I'm just showing up and rolling with how the conditions are right now.
I love it, man. I love that. So your second year, which was last year, 2019, you finished 14th in the standings, and you avoided the sophomore slump. Now, a lot of guys, man, that sophomore slump is real. Second year on the tour, man, a lot of guys are on fire that first year. They make a Forest Wood Cup. They got everything going. Then the wheels come off. You avoided that, man. Is it a focus thing? You just stayed focused, kept the same game plans intact?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just a grinder. So I get out there and just try and catch as many fish as I can, and slowly upgrade to the biggest bag I can. So,
yep.
I just pretty much used the same system that I did. And of course, I learned so much the first year that I felt like I was a much better fisherman going into year two. And
sure.
Confidence sky high, coming off, 11th place finish at the Cup, and a good season points wise. So my confidence was there. and just took with that and kept running throughout the second year. I only had, I think, 1 or 2 bombs where I missed a check, but that's really the only time where I felt like I was completely lost last year. Other than that, I felt like I was dialed into what was going on, and I was only a bite or 2 away from making the cut and making a top 10. And, it's just part of learning and becoming a better angler. You kind of put those pieces together the more you're out there.
How much homework do you do before an event? And do you pre-practice before the cutoff?
I do a lot of internet research for sure. I'll look up, watch TV shows and, look up past weights just to get an idea of what size fish I'm targeting. I really don't do any spot searching or anything, looking online for other people's spots or whatnot. I want to do my own thing and whatever fits my style. But I certainly do a lot of homework, studying the map and finding areas that I like that look like they'll set up for me. And I do like to do a little bit of pre-practice depending on the body of water and the time of year, whether to go out and mark some grass lines or, mark brush piles, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it helps, in my opinion, just to get to see the lake. Like if somebody's never been to Sam Rayburn before,
yep,
you show up for your 3 days of practice, you're going to waste a day of it just taking in how big the place is and looking at all the timber and everything. So I sort of use the pre-practice times to do that. Granted, usually I try and make it work that if I'm driving home from an event or something, that I'll just swing by for a couple of days. It's not like I would take a 20-hour trip just to go pre-practice for 2 days.
I got you. Makes sense.
Yeah, I do mix in a little bit of pre-practice once in a while, and I've found that it helps.
Absolutely. And getting familiar with the body of water, I'm sure that's a confidence thing, like you said. All right, so let's fast forward to 20. Yeah, let's fast forward to 2020, man. After 3 events, you're sitting in second place behind another Northern guy, Ron Nelson, who's had a great year. So things are going good. You and I, we just did the top 10 championship Sunday. Actually, it was Saturday this past tournament because we had to kind of adjust the schedule with everything that was going on. But man, another top 10 finish for you, fishing really, really well. Now, that being said, all right, so you're sitting right now second after 3 events. Because of COVID-19, we've had to make some adjustments to the schedule. And that means that Cherokee Lake, which would have been going on right now, has been moved to June 11th through the 14th. And then the Lake Hartwell event, which was in a couple weeks, April the 23rd through the 26th, has been moved to May 28th to the 31st. So now that takes 2 spawn tournaments, pre-spawn, spawn, maybe some post-spawn in there, to full-blown post-spawn events. You got that momentum train rolling in the right direction. But this is definitely, they're going to be different kind of fisheries at that time of year. You're looking at a full-blown post-spawn tournament. So how do you adjust your game plan for that, man? Do you like that, or is that going to throw a wrench into what's going on here?
Well, it's certainly going to throw a wrench into all of our game plans. It's going to be, like you said, it's going to be a completely different fisheries at that time of year. So
sure.
Any research or anything that has been done prior, you might as well throw that out the window because it's going to be completely different by then. But yeah, things have been going good here so far in 2020. Couldn't ask for much better. We've cashed 3 checks, made 3 cuts, made a top 10. That was honestly the first time that I'd really been in contention to win an event.
Yep.
So I was pretty pumped about that. It didn't work out, but hey. One of these times it will. But yeah, those rescheduling is it's definitely going to throw a wrench into things. I personally like fishing around the spawn. I seem to do well around the spawn. I don't really have any experience in those southern bodies of water post spawn because the only experience I have is fishing the tour the last 2 years, and they've all been in the spring. So it's certainly going to be a learning curve for me. And hopefully I'm a quick learner.
I think you are a quick learner. You're definitely a quick learner. And I
I
think
try to
you're
be.
pretty good. You're pretty good with electronics too. I think these will be electronics tournaments, won't they? Offshore stuff, post spawn. I think you kind of like that.
Probably, yeah. Probably, yeah. Either that or some top water. I could
Yep.
get down with some top water tournaments. So we'll see what happens here weather-wise and whatnot. And either way, I'm ready to get after them and keep this momentum rolling and finish out the season strong.
Absolutely. You know, we talked about the Forest Wood Cup. You've been to 2 FLW Cups. You finished 11th and 15th. Talk a little bit about that experience, man, because you know what? That has got to be, with that much experience at the Cups, huge momentum booster, huge confidence booster for you, man.
Oh, for sure, for sure. That was really cool. My first year on tour, I made the cup, got to go to the whole show, go to the banquet, go to the dinner, do the whole shebang. It was a lot of fun. And then we get out on the water and it's just business as usual, just another day of fishing. And, that first cup in 2018 was a lot of fun. The fishing was really tough, and that's when I excel. I love that. And, you know, cool story about that is actually I finished 11th place, but there was quite a few fish that I lost that would have bumped me up into that top 10. And Clint Davis was in 10th place. So
Yes.
I would have bumped him out had I caught any of those fish. I weighed in 4 fish this second day, and I lost at least 3 keepers on the way to the boat. And any one of those fish come in the boat and he would have been knocked out, and who knows what would have happened the final day.
That's
Anybody could
crazy.
have won at that point. So yeah, it's crazy, those little things, and it really makes me think that when it's your time, there's nothing that you can do wrong. And it's not in our hands, it's in the big man upstairs hands. And when he has a plan for you, there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. Totally agree with you. Guys talk about that on the stage all the time. There's a lot of truth in that, man. Right now, Matt, there's a major youth movement going on in the sport, an international movement going on. We've partnered up with countries all over the world, man, growing this sport. But there's a major youth movement going on right now too, man, with the Abu Garcia College Fishing presented by Yeti Circuit. All right, the FLW High School Fishing presented by Favorite Fishing Circuit. These guys that are coming up through the ranks, man, are some of the best fishermen on the face of the planet right now, man. This youth movement, and I call it the new blood movement. You've heard me say that on stage several times. We've definitely got a new blood movement going on in the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit, man. And you guys, I think you're one of the leaders of that new blood movement, man. Talk about the youth movement going on and what makes you guys so good, so good.
Well, I appreciate those kind words, first off, but yeah, I love the youth movement. There's a big gap, sort of. You look at the professionals on tour, you got the older guys, and then you got a bunch of young guys, and there's not much in between.
There is, yeah.
And, I don't really understand that or what's up with that, but yeah, there's this big youth movement going on. We got bass fishing all the way down into high school now. You got high school events. I wish that stuff was going on when I was in high school, 10, 12 years ago. That would have been a lot of fun to get involved in. But
yep,
just get kids involved in the fishing, another sport, and just another competitive thing that you can get kids into. It's great for the sport. You see them work their way up, all the way up through the ranks. And to be called a leader in the youth movement, man, that's an honor. I appreciate that. And hopefully we can keep this rolling.
Absolutely.
Continue to grow the sport. The more kids we get into it, the better off we are.
Absolutely. What makes these guys so good, man? It doesn't seem like you guys are intimidated by these guys that have pretty impressive resumes. You guys aren't intimidated, man.
I don't know if I'd say that. It's a lot of behind the scenes work. Pretty much my life is bass fishing. I wake up, eat, sleep, drink, you name it. I'm thinking about bass fishing. It doesn't matter if it's the middle of winter or the middle of summer. I'm doing something related to bass fishing. So you're seeing a lot of that nowadays. And with technology, you can get on the internet and always be watching something, reading something, learning something. You can always be doing something to better yourself. And that's what you're seeing a lot of these days. You know, a lot of the younger crowd is on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, you name it. They're on there and they're constantly watching somebody else that's teaching them, and they're learning. And then they can take that knowledge out onto the water whenever they have time, whether it be after class or on the weekend or after work or whatever, and put all that to use. And that's why you're seeing these anglers grow so fast and become such good fishermen in such a short time.
Absolutely. Well said, man. Well said. I think from the high school and the college ranks all the way to the Phoenix Bass Fishing League, to the Toyota Series, all the way to the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit, ultimately to Major League Fishing's Bass Pro Tour. It's a great time to be a part of this sport. You're seeing a lot of young guys doing really, really well. I just got back from Florida. I guess it was end of February there, the Harris Chain of Lakes, and we had the Abu Garcia National Championship, College Fishing National Championship. Stephen F. Austin University won it, and great kids. That top 10 was loaded. Man, they smashed them, and that was right after the tour event, you know. So these guys are doing well, and the future's bright in this sport. I want to talk a little bit about FLW Live. Man, FLW Live, you know, I say this a lot, but our TV show, that's our highlight reel. But FLW Live, you get to see our guys, you guys making real-time, game-time decisions on the water that's going to affect the outcome of their tournament at the weigh-in. You're a superstar on FLW Live. Man, the last event at St. Martin, we got to watch you for 2 days on FLW Live. You did great. And what a great personality, man. Again, you're educational. You're definitely entertaining. We're going to talk about that fish catch that went viral here in just a minute. But I love the fact that you wear no shoes in the boat, man.
You know, I like to get comfortable when I'm out there fishing, so I'm going to take them off and relax a little bit, get up there. You know, these Phoenix boats have a super nice padded deck, so it's not even like it's rough on your feet or anything. It's like you're standing on pillows up there, so it's comfy, and I just enjoy it. I feel free and relaxed, and it just helps me fish better.
That's part of your image, man. I love that about you. Well, what about your roommates, man? So word on the street is that your roommates are Dylan Hayes, Tyler Stewart, and Gray Buck. Gray Buck, who just fished the Classic. I think he finished 20th in the Bassmasters Classic. He almost won our Cherokee Lake event last year. Dylan Hayes, who's had a lot of success. Tyler Stewart, who's, speaking of the youth movement, he's had a lot of success. I think he finished 4th when he was fishing at the University of Louisiana Monroe back several years ago. But pretty good group of guys you're hanging out with, man. And I know there's some networking going on there.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I knew Gray before I started fishing the tour. You know, we kind of knew each other. We're both from Pennsylvania and fishing some local Bass Nation events and whatnot. We got to know each other. So as soon as I qualified for the tour, you know, he was one of the first guys to reach out and was like, hey, we're rooming together now, you know. So I've been with Gray ever since day one. And, you know, last year we had, you know, a few people leave and whatnot. We had some turnover in the roster. So Gray and I were talking. We're like, man, who can we get together with that, you know, we like to room up with guys from a different part of the country that kind of fish a little differently so we can all work together and help each other. So hooked up with Dylan and Tyler, and it's been working out great this year. You know, we all fish a little bit differently. And we come in at the end of the day. Actually, we have a group text going on pretty much all day while we're out on the water practicing. And pretty much as soon as somebody figures a little deal out, it's in that group text, and help the other anglers to go look for that and try and figure out something else on their own. So we're certainly working together all day, of all days of practice, you know, and even during the event, if we see somebody, we swing over and talk to them, take 30 seconds, just tell them how you're doing, or you know, clue them into a little something to help them out. And at the end of the day, it's all about us making money. That's what we're out there for. So if I can swing by and, you know, tell him throw a jig on a lay down, and he's out in the middle of the lake, if I can clue him into that, he can go catch a couple fish and get $10,000 out of it, man, that's makes all the difference in the world. So we've been working together good. I think we got 10 out of 12 checks so far this year, and just ready to keep that rolling.
That's awesome, man. What a great group of guys too, man. And all those guys are really good for the sport. They have great personalities. They speak well on the stage, man. And they can catch them. They can catch them. Let's talk about the FLW title, man. The FLW title, August 8th through the 13th. Thousand Islands, man. St. Lawrence River, Messina, New York. We talked about your win there in the Toyota Series in 2017, but this time it'll be the top 50 pros from the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit. First place prize, $200,000, man. I know you can't wait to get there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't want to get ahead of myself yet. We still have to qualify, but I'm ready to go. I hope to make that. And, you know, that one's going to be interesting. You know, that's got the new format. So it's going to change things up a little bit. But I'm excited for it. I feel like I have as good a shot as anyone out there. I understand what the fish do up there.
You got to be a pre-tournament favorite. Yep.
You know, I just understand what goes on up there and how to fish it and understand the current. So I would be licking my chops to get up there and see if we couldn't put together a few good days of fishing and take home that big check.
Absolutely. You're definitely a pre-tournament favorite, man. Hey, listen, Major League Fishing acquired FLW last fall. The whole fishing world knows we're changing the sport of bass fishing forever. What a great acquisition and a great partnership. Following the 2021 season, you already know, man, the top 10 pros from the 2020 and 2021 season will qualify for Major League Fishing's Bass Pro Tour. That's a great opportunity, man. Great opportunity to take this whole thing to another level.
Oh, it sure is, and that's certainly on the radar. You know, that's probably the number one goal here over the next 2 years is to qualify for that Bass Pro Tour, be at the highest level of the sport, no entry fees. I mean, that's unprecedented. We've never seen that before in bass fishing, and just doing that alone would be a financial raise in my pocket, just not having to pay the entry fees. So even if I didn't cash a check all year, it would still be a raise in my book. So I'm excited about that. I'm trying to fish consistently and just continue to rack up them points and make that happen after these next 2 years. So that's definitely the goal. You know, the Bass Pro Tour looks very exciting. And as you can see, there's a few previous FLW Tour guys that have jumped over and they took off running and they've been excelling. So I feel like my style and how I fish and practice out on the water should mesh well. I mean, you'll never know until you get out there, but I'm just the type of guy that likes to catch as many fish as I can in a day and just slowly upgrade to the 5 biggest. So I feel like that style may mesh well with their format, but until we're there and try it, we'll never know. But certainly going to do everything I can to qualify in that top 10 after next season.
Absolutely, man. And speaking of money in the sport, Phoenix Boats. All right, so on the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit, if you win, because you're a Phoenix boat owner, $135,000 richer. That's a crazy, awesome contingency.
It really is. You know, it really is. And I was super pumped to click on FLWfishing.com there this fall and see that Phoenix has signed on as a sponsor of FLW. You should have seen me high-fiving myself on my couch when I see that. So yeah, I was extremely happy about that. You know, I've been in a Phoenix for 3 years now, and I absolutely love it. You know, there's not a boat out there like it, and I would never change brands if it was up to me. So.
That's a lot of money.
Hey, listen. Pumped about that. Yeah, we're fishing for unprecedented contingency money there, and hopefully one day we can hold up that big check.
I guarantee you that time's coming for you, man. It's awesome to win $100,000, but $35,000 more dollars is incredible money. So hey, we're winding this thing down. I got a couple quick questions for you, man. Your most exciting fish catch on the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit. And I know what it is because it's a Lake Martin catch that you caught on your GoPro that went viral. Talk a little bit about that, man.
Yeah, that was probably the most exciting. I got a second place I'll share with you too, but that one, yeah, that was unbelievable. We had just shut down FLW Live, and the cameraman TJ, he set up, made sure the GoPro was recording and everything, because he's like, I'm gonna get out of your boat and got to head back and set up for weigh-in. So I actually told him, I was like, hey, I'm running over to a dock right around the corner. Do you want to come, or are you getting out now? He's like, just drop me off now. So he gets out of the boat, and I take off and run right around the corner. And it wasn't my second cast with him out of the boat under this dock that happens. I mean, it set the hook on the fish, and it immediately ran right to the left, and there was nothing but dock posts. So he had nowhere to go. So he ran around 2 or 3 of them. And what happened is I was throwing Seaguar braid, 20-pound smackdown braid. And when he ran by one of those posts, the braid kind of got in a little splinter on the dock post, and it kind of stuck there. So he couldn't go anywhere. He was just down there fighting. And eventually he tired himself out. I could just see him there laying on the side, trying to get on hook. So I went in, and disaster ensued. I tried to get it untangled a little bit, and then almost fell out of the boat. And then my trolling motor got on constant and was trying to run away from me. I bumped my power pull buttons and knocked my power pulls down, and all sorts of disasters went on. But after all that, I finally handed my rod around the dock post to my other arm and got it around that post, and then got over to where the splinter was and finally worked it out. And then he just was so tired. She came right up and grabbed her, and that was it. So that was definitely the most exciting fish catch that I've had on tour. It would have been better had TJ still been in the boat. He was gone for 5 minutes, and that happened. But other than that, my rookie year, I had probably one of my most memorable fish catches ever. It was actually at Kentucky Lake. It was one of my bomb finishes. But it was about the end of day 2. I was sitting on 4 little fish, and I just pulled up on a ledge I never even fished before and fired out there with a football jig. And it just kind of stopped a little bit, and I set the hook on it, and it didn't move. And next thing I know, I thought I had a stump, but it comes up and jumps. It's a 7.5 pounder. So that one bite there moved me up like 50 spots in the standings and got all those points, which in turn, looking back, got me Rookie of the Year, qualified for the Cup. All those sorts of things happened from that one fish catch. So that sort of sticks out to me. That's probably my second most memorable catch, other than that crazy dock fish there at Lake Martin.
I love it, man. Great stories. Great fish catch stories, man. And okay, so listen, we're going to close out the show, man. How can we see that fish catch from Lake Martin, man? How can we catch up with Matt Becker on social media?
Yeah, so I'm all over social media. I got Instagram, Facebook. They're just Matt Becker Fishing. I think Instagram's M Becker Fishing. But all of my tournament videos, recaps, that fish catch, plenty of tips and tricks, all that's available on my YouTube channel, Matt Becker Fishing. I started that probably about a year ago now, and I've been putting out consistent content for a year now and just trying to grow that and help, teach more people to fish is what the end goal is. So yeah, definitely check out my YouTube channel, Matt Becker Fishing. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. I'd appreciate that. And like I said, I always got new content coming, whether it be tips and tricks, little tackle tweaks, or just tournament recaps, and help you guys catch some more bass.
There you go, man. You're hearing it from Matt Becker from Findlay, Pennsylvania. He is a fishing phenom and a future champion, I guarantee you. Matt, thanks for joining me. This is the first episode ever on Catching Up with Chris Jones. Thanks for joining me, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks for choosing me, Chris. I'm honored.
He is the leader of the New Blood movement, the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit.
Hang on. Before we go, can you give me a wow and a 5 bass limit?
Wow! A 5 bass limit for Pennsylvania's Matt Becker on Championship Sunday.
I like it. I needed that. I don't know when I'm going to get to hear that again, so I needed it.
Matt, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, Chris. Thank you.
For everything FLW Fishing, log on to flwfishing.com. It's the world's most popular competitive fishing website. We'll see you on the next episode of Catching Up with Chris Jones.